For a long time, people have talked about science and the Bible. Some think they are enemies fighting each other. Others believe they can work together, like two friends. This debate is important because it touches on big questions we all have. How did the world begin? Why are we here? How should we live? Both science and the Bible offer answers, but they do so in very different ways. Understanding these differences is the first step to seeing how they might relate to each other. It is not always a simple case of one being right and the other being wrong. The story of this relationship is often told as a story of conflict. We hear about famous disagreements, like the one involving Galileo. He used science to say the Earth moves around the sun. Some church leaders at the time disagreed with him based on their understanding of the Bible. This story makes it seem like science and faith are always at war, but this is not the whole picture. Many of the first great scientists were people of deep faith. They saw science as a way to study God's creation. They believed that by understanding the natural world, they could better understand the God who made it. So, are they friends or are they foes? The answer depends on what we expect from them. If we ask science to tell us the meaning of life, it will be silent. Science is not designed to answer questions about purpose or morality. On the other hand, if we ask the Bible to give us a detailed scientific textbook, we might be disappointed. The Bible's main goal is not to explain the laws of physics or biology. It aims to tell us about God and our relationship with Him. Thinking of them as two different tools for two different jobs can help us see their value. Imagine you have a car. A mechanic can explain how the engine works. He can tell you about the pistons, the fuel injection, and the electrical system. This is like what science does. It explains how things work. But the mechanic cannot tell you why the car was built or where you should drive it. For that, you need the car's designer or owner. This is more like what the Bible does. It talks about purpose and direction. Both explanations are true and useful. One tells you the how, and the other tells you the why. We need both to get the full story. Science is a special way of learning about the world around us. It is a process that is based on observation and testing. Scientists look at the world carefully. They ask questions about what they see. Then, they form a hypothesis, which is a possible explanation. The next step is to test this idea through experiments. If the experiments support the hypothesis, it becomes more accepted. If they do not, the scientist must change the idea and test it again. This method helps us build up knowledge about the natural world, from the smallest atoms to the largest galaxies. The Bible, however, is not a science textbook. It is a collection of sacred writings for Christians and Jews. It contains 66 books written by many different authors over a long period. The Bible includes different kinds of writings such as history, poetry, letters, and prophecy. Its main subject is God and His relationship with humanity. It tells a big story, from the creation of the world to God's plan for saving people. The Bible focuses on spiritual truth. It answers questions like, who is God? Who are we? What is right and wrong? It offers guidance on how to live a meaningful life. The language of science is precise and technical. It uses mathematics and specific terms to describe physical reality. For example, science can explain the water cycle with great detail. It can describe evaporation, condensation, and precipitation using formulas and data. The goal is to create a model of how nature works that is accurate and can make predictions. Science is always growing and changing. New discoveries can lead to new understandings. What we think is true today might be improved upon by the scientists of tomorrow. This is a strength of science, not a weakness. The language of the Bible is often different. It uses stories, metaphors, and symbols to communicate profound truths. When the Bible talks about creation in the book of Genesis, it is not trying to give a scientific report. It is making important claims about God as the creator and the special value of human beings. Its purpose is theological, not scientific. It speaks to our hearts and our spirits, not just our minds. The Bible's message is seen by believers as timeless and unchanging. It provides a moral and spiritual compass that science does not offer. Even though they are different, science and the Bible sometimes talk about the same things. Both begin by saying that the universe had a beginning. The Bible opens with the famous words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." For centuries, many scientists thought the universe was eternal and had no beginning. But in the 20th century, scientific evidence for the Big Bang theory grew. This theory says the universe did have a starting point. This is an interesting point of connection where both science and the Bible point to a beginning for everything. Another connection is the idea of order in nature. Scientists depend on the fact that the universe follows consistent rules, which we call laws of nature. The law of gravity works the same way today as it did yesterday. This regularity makes science possible. The Bible also speaks of a world that is orderly and not chaotic. It presents God as a lawgiver who created a reliable and stable universe. Psalm 19 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." Many scientists, past and present, have felt a sense of wonder at this deep order in the cosmos. We can also see a connection in the area of health and hygiene. The Bible contains many laws in the Old Testament that might seem strange to us today. For example, the book of Leviticus gives instructions about washing, quarantining sick people, and dealing with dead bodies. For thousands of years, people did not understand the reasons for these rules. But modern science has shown us the importance of hygiene. We now know about germs and how diseases spread. The Bible's practical advice on these matters was far ahead of its time, promoting health long before science explained why it worked. This shows that the Bible is not anti-science. In fact, it sometimes contains wisdom that science later confirms. The Bible encourages us to be wise and to care for our bodies and the world. Science gives us the tools to do that more effectively. For example, the Bible teaches that we should be good stewards of the earth. Science today gives us detailed knowledge about our environment. It shows us the effects of pollution and climate change. By using this scientific knowledge, we can better follow the Bible's command to care for creation. In this way, they can work together for a common good. Of course, there are also real areas of disagreement. One of the most famous is the age of the earth. Some people read the book of Genesis and calculate that the earth is only a few thousand years old. However, scientific evidence from geology, physics, and biology strongly suggests that the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. This creates a conflict for those who read the Bible as a literal scientific account. Others interpret the days of creation in Genesis as long periods of time, not literal 24-hour days. This interpretation allows for an ancient Earth and reduces the conflict with science. Another major point of tension is the theory of evolution. Science describes a long process of biological evolution, where life developed over millions of years from common ancestors. This seems to contradict the Genesis account of God creating each kind of living thing separately. Some Christians reject the theory of evolution completely. Others see evolution as the method God used to create the diversity of life we see today. They believe God guided the process. This view is sometimes called theistic evolution. It is an attempt to harmonize the findings of science with the message of the Bible. Miracles are another area where science and the Bible seem to clash. Science studies the natural, repeatable laws of the universe. A miracle, by definition, is an event that goes beyond these natural laws, like Jesus walking on water or rising from the dead. Science cannot prove or disprove a miracle. A scientist might say such events are impossible because they violate the laws of nature. A person of faith might say that the God who created the laws of nature can also choose to suspend or override them for a special purpose. They are looking at the event from two completely different perspectives. In the end, many people find that science and the Bible are not enemies. They see them as answering different sets of questions. Science excels at answering the how questions. How does a cell work? How did the planets form? The Bible focuses on the why questions. Why is there a universe at all? What is my purpose in life? What is the basis for morality? Both sets of questions are important for a full human life. Science can help us understand and appreciate the amazing world we live in. The Bible can give us meaning, hope, and a moral framework. They can be seen as two valuable voices in the great conversation about what it means to be human.